Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Femme Tell All podcast. My name is Madison Bellissimo.
And I'm Ruth Devereaux.
And we're so happy you're here.
We're so happy you're here.
We're so excited because actually this episode is based off a comment that we received on one of our last episodes, What Women Want.
And a request for us to extend this conversation and add some other elements to it.
Yeah. And which, honestly, please, guys, anyone.
Please do this.
We love it. We love the engagement.
Yeah. You have no idea. As soon as we got this comment, I screenshot it, sent it to Maddie. We're like, oh my gosh, it's so great because it was so thoughtful. It was, you could tell they watched the episode. Mm-hmm. They had thoughtful,
feedback.
Feedback.
Exactly.
About it, and gave us actual instructions of what they wanted to hear, and we want that from you guys.
No, truly. So, pretty much the participant asked, or the person that was commenting, because we don't know their gender. We'd assume it's a man from the context that they were giving, but they were asking, how do you find like-minded individuals that you can date? And I think when they must be interested in women because they were watching What Women Want. And they were asking how to specifically talk to women, pick up women.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get all the ways that we think are appropriate, where we've felt like it boded well for people
from our point of view.
Exactly. So, do you have any hard no's right off the bat?
I would say anybody that is it comes across sleazy. If it feels like you're feeding me a line, if it feels like instantly I feel like I'm being lied to, instantly I feel like you do this to everybody around. That's a huge turnoff for me. Also, I really value confidence in a man, because anybody that I choose to partner with, I want them to be a leader of some sort. Again, this is very personal. When I see confidence, I'm like, oh, okay, that could be somebody I could lean on. That would help me in life. That would be the head of the household sort of thing.
Totally. Yeah. I see that. You don't want a line like, did it hurt when you fell?
It depends, actually. If it's done in a way that makes me laugh, I'm sold. Pants are off.
Pants are off, she said. That's incredible. I mean, I agree with you. I think now I'm jumping to what works.
Yeah.
I think confidence is huge for me too.
Big, yeah.
I would say most women subscribe to that thought, that point of view as well.
Yeah.
But also when they can make me laugh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes. And I know it's
every single time.
Yeah, and I know it's hard for us to just be funny and creative and charming. But
dance clown, dance.
Yeah. Dance monkey, dance. No, but it's true, because I think genuinely, if someone can break the ice that and make you laugh, it disarms you. It makes you a little more interested in maybe having a conversation.
And I feel like both of these can live on their own too, because I've been attracted to people that just had a swagger about them, and they were super confident without being arrogant.
Yeah, just super suave.
Yeah. And then there's been guys that have been super funny, where I'm just oh my gosh, I said in past episodes, I feel like you have to be intelligent to be funny.
Yeah.
So but when those combine,
it's the secret sauce. Truly, I think
it
so.
Is.
Okay, so obviously when you're thinking about getting out there, you're a single person interested in women, you're trying to get out there. What would you recommend as far as places, resources? Do you think online is allowed? What
do you think?
I think online is allowed.
I think
I would prefer meeting in person. That's me personally. When I date people, I prefer meeting in person, because then you can get a vibe, because it's super easy.
Yeah.
And again, I'll say it for myself, to fall in love with the idea of someone when it's online, when you see this perfectly curated lifestyle that they're living, and you're like, they're perfect for me. Oh my God. We would fit so well together.
Baby daddy.
Yeah. And then you see them in person, and they have ketchup on their face for 10 minutes, and you're like, and they're like, oh no, you don't want that. You don't want that vibe. So I think I always cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Definitely try and get in person.
Yeah.
But I think,
have you ever met somebody online that you met in person and their persona was completely different from who they are in
absolutely.
person? Yeah,
absolutely. I can think of one guy, and if this turns into a clip, hey, what's up? He follows me. We met on Hinge. We've gone on 2 dates now, and he is super attractive. He's French. And oui, oui. And he comes off like a total fuckboy, like he just does. And even when I matched with him on Hinge, I remember being like, this ain't you. Like this is not compatible. Like we are not gonna be the same.
Yeah.
But both dates that we've gone out on, like he was so lovely, so sweet.
Yeah.
Like and way more like shy and timid. And
Interesting.
I was like, oh, you give like a fuckboy. And he was like, yeah, I'm not a fuckboy at all. Like we even talked about it in person. He's like, I know like my persona.
But that's kind of like a better switch.
Oh, it was a
right?
better switch. Yeah. Then it was a pleasant surprise.
See, my whole like I thought I was gonna go to like this is why you need to be like upfront with who you are online just as you are in person. But that it kind of was like you're expecting this and then the bar,
I remember going on the first date and being like, oh God, how's this going to go? I was like, just for the plot. Like, let's go. He's really cute.
Plot twist.
Exactly. It's so funny. But I'm like, at the very least, he's going to be someone nice to look at for an hour and a half. Like, and don't be dogging me in the comments. Men do this all the time. But I'm like, equal opportunity. So I'm like, it would be fun to just go out with like a hot French guy. Why not?
I mean.
And then he ended up being really, really sweet and like down to earth. And I was like, oh, you're not a fuckboy.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So downplay yourself online.
Yeah. I aim low, perform high. Listen, that's the motto.
That's going to be the title of this episode.
Truly. But yeah, I think so. That's where I do think that you can reach out to someone online.
How?
I think let's get into it. Okay.
Ooh, the etiquette. Etiquette.
Because I think there is etiquette.
There is.
I think if you're sending a fire emoji or like the 100 emoji or like something like that or like the sweating
creative.
face, I'm not interested in you then.
No.
Like I don't want to date you. I don't want to go out with you if like that's your
I think honestly that's akin to catcalling back in the day, right? Because it's just like a quick like thing, but you're never going to be like, "Hey, come back here, talk to me."
No. It's giving no effort.
Yeah.
It's giving bare minimum because it also, you know what how it reads to me is like similar to catcalling. It's like they want to be obnoxious enough that they get your attention, but they're worried about making a fool of themselves and actually making a move that this is like if you don't respond, they're like, whatever, it's just a fucking fire emoji. They can downplay it. And it's the same with catcalling when we've talked about this example of like, you're gorgeous, and then you fucking don't reply. And then they're like, fuck you anyway. Like, you're not pretty. And you're just like, I think it's not as intense, but I think they have that as like a safe regard of like, oh no, like it was just a fire emoji. It was not that big of a deal. Instead of being
that's
like, hey,
a great point. Yeah.
I want to take you on a date. Hey.
Or I want to get it to know more about you.
Yeah, you want to grab a drink?
Have a conversation. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be so like fucking a sonnet in my DMs. Like, we don't need that. I will say it always helps if like, do your recon. Like, do your fucking research.
You have the tools at your fingertips. Yeah.
Like, if you're going to be looking at my thirst traps, like, look at, like, my highlights. Look at my fucking things. Like, all the things. You see some of my friends, like, they're day players on there, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, they're the same. So you can, it's true. Like, you can see that they're on there all the time, and you're just like, okay. Maybe not day players and regulars, but like, but in the way of like each and every day you're seeing them and you're like, oh, okay, I know that Maddie has a podcast with Ruth and she really loves this podcast. She posts about it almost every day. So like maybe I can slide into the DMs being like, how's the podcast?
Or even watch an episode and have a question on it. Like that's not a huge time commitment. Yeah. See, that would be the way I would want somebody to approach you online. I think sliding the DMs, like, there is an etiquette to it. There's a lot of sleaziness that can happen that way. But I think when you have access to information about somebody, you can do a thoughtful outreach.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And I think it also gives you the opportunity, if you're on the shyer side, if you are someone that like, you're like, over my dead body, would I actually approach someone at a bar or at an event or something like that?
Yeah.
That is a way to do it. Like, if you get their Instagram or you find their Instagram, I wouldn't even be creeped out, and maybe I'm in the minority here, but if someone found my Instagram, it would be a lot. I would be like, whoa, you did your research. But if you did it respectfully and you were like, hey, I wanted to come up to you. Oh, God.
This is where the line is. Like, if it was a very attractive man, you would be like,
She's but not wrong.
It wasn't. You'd be like, that is so creepy.
Call me out. Call me out. It's true. It's true. I think there are double standards.
No, I think that's for everybody.
Yes,
that's
yes,
not just like, yeah.
But you're right. But I think I will say I would still have a little. I think I would genuinely have a little more respect for someone that if they were like super shy and didn't go up to me. Say I went to like an outing with my friends and he was there and he didn't know how to like ask me out but wanted to.
Like ideas of how to overcome the obstacle of shyness or fear or anything along those lines, so you have the opportunity to meet the love of your life.
It's true, because it could be really at your finger. It could be at your fingertips.
Yeah,
like,
you never know where you're gonna meet that person.
Yeah, like you went to a class that your brother dragged you to.
I had no idea.
And then you met this really cute trainer, and then you were like, oh, and then you guys followed each other on Instagram.
I'm basically married.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like you're moved in. Yeah. Double income, no children. Like
Dink all the way.
Truly though. And I think about like we've talked about too, like, do you think there is a certain amount of times where after this amount of reach outs, it's like just walk away? Because I think that is also a delicacy too of like not fucking blowing up someone's DMs, not being like attached at the hip, being like, hey, so I was thinking of.
See, I honestly would say one. If you send a message to somebody and they don't respond, bye. Like, and I know that's so much easier said than done. And again, it depends on the verity of the level of how you know this person, and how their schedule is. Because I'm not saying like everybody's just ignoring messages, but most of the time, they're ignoring messages.
We're on our phones a lot.
Yeah,
I will say I will give 2 messages. I think 2 messages. One. Especially if you get like a response, but like a half-assed response.
Sure, yeah.
I think you can do a double down and be like, you know what? I'm really trying to take you out here. But no worries if you don't want.
Response,
but if you get no response twice,
walk away.
Yeah, you deserve better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like maybe I'm sure that person's lovely. I'm not even trashing on them.
No.
I wish they had the decency to reply, but I understand.
Well, listen, like this is where we vary too. Like she's really good about always replying and giving the information and like letting people down easy if it doesn't work out. I was not that way. I was an asshole, and now looking back, I can fully take that title and understand like it wasn't right. But then watching Maddie and the way she's so handled all situations so well, like I see the value in doing that more. I just wasn't that person. I understand how it happens on the other side.
I completely understand too. It's way more convenient. Do I wish I had the like gusto to not reply? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like, just don't.
No.
And then I'm like, hey. And like maybe some people would rather not get a response than get a turn down.
Sure,
like I feel like there's been a couple of opportunities where I'm like, I bet you when they've ignored my message, when I've like turned them down and they've ignored me, I'm like, you would have probably like rather ghosted. Like I saw there's this one girl on TikTok that was like, I don't want to hear why you don't like me, just ghost me. And I couldn't be further from the truth. Like I'm just on my receiving end. I would rather someone be like, hey, it's not gonna work.
Sure, yeah.
Or like, hey, I'm not interested. Even if it's like pretty direct like that, I would still prefer that than an ambiguous fair. Like,
I think that's fair because it allows for like it to be severed and for you to move forward.
Some closure for sure. And is there closure when someone doesn't respond and they're being an asshole like that? Not saying that you're, but I'm saying like if someone who like truly ghosts you, like is that a response and you should get closure from it? Absolutely. Is it hard though?
It is hard.
So hard. So that's where I'm like, if you can, I recommend reaching out.
So let's take it off online.
Okay.
And let's go to a place like a bar or any kind of social setting.
Yeah.
More of a like a social setting.
Great.
How are you going to want to be approached?
I want a little silliness. I want a little goofiness. I want you making me laugh. Even if it's direct, like 2 boyfriends that I've had have actually approached me. One at a party, one at a bar. Oh. So that happens. You know, one shall not be named, but that did happen, and I do have to give him credit because it worked. And it was a very like he just disarmed me right away because he was kind of silly, kind of goofy. I think I technically approached him at the bar, but I was really not going up to him. It was like a group of people, and I was talking to them. Friendly, and then he like locked into me and was talking to me, and then I was like, okay. But I will say he made me laugh multiple times and like made it super funny and like played a bit with me too. I love a bit. let's keep going with the bits. Like he like joked that I was a talent manager, and I was like, yeah, let's go. And we kept going with that, and that was funny. But I will say, like, another example, my long-term boyfriend, he came up to me at a party, and he saw I was alone. And I think that is, if you have an opportunity.
When a girl's alone,
yes,
yeah, absolutely.
And it's funny because I know, like, in some ways, like, as a woman, I don't like being approached when I'm alone because it's like you're a little more vulnerable.
Yeah.
But I think it helps the dynamic be very decided very quickly.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
Are we just friends? Are we going to talk? Can I chat with you for a little? Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, so he came up to me, I remember, at the party. And I was like kind of being a wallflower, which is not my vibe
you
at all. And he clocked it. And he like just came up and like stood next to me and was like, so are we doing a wallflower act or what? And I was like, oh my God, no, I'm just it's just not really my scene. You know, like I was just like, it was a college party that everyone was fucking obliterated. And I was like, I'm the DD. Like, it was just like, so we bonded, and then we never stopped talking after that. And we dated for 4 years. So like,
that's so cute.
And it immediately, I was acquaintances with him before, and that was how he got out of the like,
friend zone?
It wasn't even like he was in the friend zone, but I didn't
like
consider him a friend anymore. Yeah.
That's technically like the friend zone.
Yeah. Well, because we weren't like, our relationship was so new as friends.
Yeah.
But it was just like, we would have like meetings.
But genuinely, generally, you would look at somebody, you would think like, oh, I'm attracted to them, I would date them. Where this person was like that, you weren't thinking that at all.
Not
in
at
this
all.
moment clicked it for you.
Yeah, it was like how suave and funny he was, and sweet he was, and like courageous to be like, so what's up? And I was
I like that.
Oh, what is up? You know, and then I'm like getting flustered, and then we're texting, and we never stopped texting after that. So good for him.
Yeah.
Like,
congratulations.
Homie killed that, crushed that.
You did it.
Congrats to us for 4 years. But yeah, it's one of those things that like, I think if you're asking generally, I think always like kind of an icebreaker. Even like what you're wearing, like you can take so many social cues. If someone has like a phone case that has something on it, like a sticker or something, if they have their nails done, if their hair is curled or they got their hair natural and you're like, oh, is that your natural hair? There's so many questions that you can use. Just like use the fucking context clues.
Yes, exactly.
And then instead of just coming up and saying a line, or instead of just being like, hey,
what's up?
And then I'm like, hey. Come here often, you know. It's like I don't want that. Like I'd rather someone be like, "Is that a scarf? Are you wearing a scarf as a shirt?" And then I'm like, "No, yes." You know, like I'd rather that kind of like vibe. I mean, what about you? Like I know that you're off the market, but
I am.
When
I would say humor too. Like humor is always a good icebreaker, like you said. But I also know like that's not so easy, especially when you're already coming into a situation where you're putting yourself out there. So I would say if anybody came up to me and just said anything that was interesting in any way, like if it was like any kind of conversation starter, either like something going on in the news right now or politics or in the Star News even, like just like pop start culture. Something where it's just like we can have a conversation and we're not fighting to go somewhere. And if you can carry a conversation,
do it.
Yes.
You know what I was just thinking? Like, which would be, this has never happened to me, but I think it would be such a cute icebreaker and maybe.
Ooh, put it out there.
Like, if someone came up to me at a bar, like, say I was, and if they were like, did not know me, like, and they just were like, hey, I bet you a drink, like, I can come up with a better scenario of what that person's relationship with that person is. Like people
they made
watching.
a game out of it?
Yes.
Oh my God, that
I would immediately be like clicked in, and my like competitive side would be like, fucking let's go. And then if you bet a drink, then it's not like
that
so
is
necessarily
such a cute
right?
line.
Like I literally just thought about that. I'm like, something like that. Like something like, or if like the game's on and you're like, are you a fucking.
The one best thing I ever heard of was it, and it happened to Justine.
Oh, really?
Is the guy knew magic, and he did a magic trick. I'm like, oh my God! Every man should learn magic. That is like an icebreaker.
All the magic nerds are like, it is my time. See, I don't know how I would
if a guy came up and did a card trick, I would die. I would be like, tell me how you did it.
I don't know. I think I would be down. I would be like, whoa, but I don't know if I'd be like immediately attracted to them.
This is proof, gentlemen.
Yes.
That every woman's different.
It's subjective.
You don't know what's going to work on who.
Yeah.
But whatever you would think is interesting, whatever And this also goes to the question that the viewer said about like-minded people. Do you present yourself in the way that you want to, go up and do the pickup line or the conversation starter or magic, and the right woman's gonna love it?
It's true. I think like finding some like, and this goes for the places you want to pick them up too. Like, I think about there's these salsa classes that are out here in LA.
We still got to do that.
We got to do that. I fucking love it every time I've gone. And boy, are those boys shooting their shots like when you're there. And it's not because there's men there. Like I if anything, like that's probably the least favorite part. But I think if I danced with someone and I had fun and they were like, hey, we should grab a drink sometime. I would be so down because I'd already be like, oh, he likes going out and dancing.
Yeah.
He's fun. He's spontaneous.
And he knows how to dance.
Yeah. And the cool thing is it's a class before it opens up into a club.
So fun.
And I know that might not be in every like rural city or, like whatever, but rural city, that's kind of an oxymoron, but you know what I'm saying? I'm saying like more like not as big of a metropolis as LA or New York or San Francisco or Miami. But like if you go to something like that, like, and you get to dance with all these women, like it's a round robin, and then and then it opens up to a club. And I like that scenario is so clear to me that like I feel like you could easily, you're chatting while you're dancing. It's an immediate icebreaker, and that's something that I know. Or like a cooking class for me, that'd be huge. If I met someone at a cooking class,
that'd be so
I would
perfect.
be like, I might have found the one.
I'm getting married.
It is ready. No, it's true though. But like, and I think just finding places.
I have a question, actually.
Yeah, please.
So your mindset when you go to a place like a social setting, like a bar, or like or a dancing class or a cooking class, is very much more open to meeting people. What if you're approached in a scenario that you're maybe not in that mindset?
Yeah.
So maybe you're walking down the street, you're in the grocery store, like, or whatever, like a place that you wouldn't normally maybe not want to be approached. Have you ever had anybody approach you there, and what has been a win and a loss?
Yeah, I've been approached at like Trader Joe's before while I was searching for a product, and a guy like came up to me and asked me on a date. This is when I was in college too. He was way older than me. I should not have gone out with him, but I did. I went on one date with him. And
how was it?
He's aggressive. I didn't love it. Like again, but he was aggressive in the store. He was just like, "Hey, you're really cute," and I was like, I'm buying cheese. Like, I don't know what
that
to
could
tell
be my
you.
father.
Yeah. No. He wasn't
I'm
that
joking.
old. But I was so young. I was like 18 or 19, and he was probably like late 20s.
Oh, wow.
So it was one of those things, like, not great. Not good looks. But I will say he did get a date with me.
Yeah.
And I think when you approach someone at those places, I don't know. I think there is some kind of courtesy to like kind of lock eyes with them, and if they're immediately darting their eyes with you,
don't approach.
Fucking if it's like a little like that, they're probably
They
embarrassed.
Linger.
Yeah,
if the eyes linger, that's an open
totally.
door.
Or if they look at you again or something like that, and it's not a look at you again, like why are they looking
You're
at me?
too close.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say, like, at bars, there's so many times where I'll go out with my girlfriends.
Yeah.
When we were single, both of us,
Yeah.
and now when, like, Noah and I go out, there have been plenty of times where we get, like, fully dressed up.
Yeah.
We go to a bar. We just sit and observe, and we're, like, sitting, and no one comes up to us.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, no. I'm not, like, I'm just
That is crazy, though. Like, if anybody sees these two ladies sitting together at a bar, like, there should be flocks of men around them.
You would think. Like, again, it feels like an inviting opportunity, but I think it is a little intimidating. But I'm like, just say hey. Like, just be like, hey, what are you guys drinking?
Well, and that's the thing, too. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out thing, right? Like, you can, and again, we understand, like, this is very intimidating. If I was a guy and I saw you guys sitting there, like, I would be intimidated. I don't want to get yelled at either. Like, what if some girls, like, might be really mean about it?
You're so right.
Yeah, so I can understand that. But, like, even if you just read the room a little bit, even if you walk close by and you kind of like look over, get the eye contact and a smile, I think that's an open door.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
There's like a trend on TikTok right now that it's like you accidentally made eye contact with a guy that's been staring at you all night. And it's like a guy like 10 feet away and he's drinking. He's like, and then he like keeps it, and he's like, and then he finally gets to her. He keeps like inching closer, and then he's like, "I saw you staring at me from across the bar," and it's like so aggressive. And everyone in the comments, like women, are like, "I'm backing away from my phone right now."
Oh
and
my
it's
God,
like,
that's
it's
hilarious.
true because and I think there's a way to read the room.
Yeah,
like hopefully you
absolutely.
have enough self-awareness that you're like, oh, they made eye contact. I will try and smile at
Yeah.
guys. Like have you done that? Like
That's
when you're
funny, actually. I asked Neil one time, I'm like, how would you hit on me if we had met in a bar?
Mhm.
And he's like, I would have smiled at you 3 times, and if you smiled back, then I'd come up to you. I was like, 3 times? Like, what the heck is that?
That's a lot.
But maybe
But
that's
that's a good point. Like
yeah.
just fucking what's it cost to give a smile?
Yeah.
Hey. Like
Yeah.
I've waved at people before. If they like keep
Yeah?
if they keep looking, I've been like,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
cute.
like I'm like, what's up?
Yeah.
Nice to you, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. Like it does take confidence, and I'm so sorry to break that to you.
Yeah.
That's where I do think if you want to do
But
online,
confidence
you can.
also takes practice.
Mhm.
And so sometimes it is stepping out of those safety zones and just trying something new,
Mhm.
seeing what works for you, seeing what you feel comfortable with, seeing what you get a reaction from in the way that you want the reaction.
Totally. And I think okay, so say it's not necessarily a stranger, right? Like maybe you're
Sure.
at a social function where you have mutual friends or
Yeah.
something like that. How would you want to be approached there?
I mean, that's tougher because like you don't know if somebody's just being friendly to you or if somebody's like interested in you.
Yeah, because now you're probably in a conversation with them and you're like,
Yeah. You know what I would want in that situation? If you're at a social setting with friends and or maybe even like it's a family gathering and this is a person from the outside, I would be friendly throughout. I would have conversation with them,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't approach them for like a number or a date until the end of the event,
I agree.
just in case things weren't what I thought they would
Yeah,
be.
you misread.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
what wouldn't lead to an uncomfortable situation that you're stuck in.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I will say, I feel like we need to discuss this. We were out to dinner with Neil
Yeah.
and Adam the other
Yeah.
day, and and Neil was like, "When a girl touches you, she's so interested," and I was like, "Pause." I was like, "Pause," because I was like, generally speaking, yes,
Yeah.
I agree with him.
When I
completely
touch him,
agree.
I'm very interested.
But I'm like, this bitch touches everyone. I am such a touchy person.
I am too, honestly.
so-
I'm a very like friendly, like
Yes.
yeah, I'm a hugger. Like I hug people when I
Uh-huh.
meet
You
them.
have the best hugs, and everyone says
you.
it. It's true. She really has the best hugs. And I think about that because I was at a social function semi-recently, and I was trying to show someone I was interested in them. So I
Yeah.
kept being like, and like touching his arm. And I was like, God damn it, I hope he's like picking up on this. But then I also was worried because I was like, I'm touchy with everyone. What about if he looks over and I'm like touching someone else? And I was like,
But I guess it maybe is the amount of times you're doing
yeah,
it.
and again, I usually it really isn't that.
Yeah.
It is so involuntary for me usually, but on this specific occasion, I was like, I need to show
You're making
I was
the action.
Yeah, because
well, then
I
you're
was
definitely
at-
doing it more because I'm around you with other people all the time, and like
Yeah.
you are like you're friendly, touchy, but it's
Yeah.
very like it's not like consistent.
I would like to think it's like a classy.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like it's usually when you're laughing or you're talking
Yes,
to them
I go
and you're like,
I
yeah,
touch their like arm or their leg,
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh
yeah.
my God, yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
yeah,
But yeah, I remember because I was like, because we were at a social function that we had so many mutual friends, and we were
Yeah.
getting into conversations with so many
yeah.
mutual people. I was just like,
You're like touching his arm, like, oh,
yes.
oh.
And I'm just like, hey, it's funny. Hopefully, also, what I'm trying to get at is like, if the woman's interested in you,
Yeah.
hopefully she'll show you signs too.
Yeah,
Like a little
absolutely.
flirty eye, playing with your hair. If she's
Yeah.
playing with her hair a lot, that's
Yeah.
probably a good sign. If they're laughing a lot,
Yeah.
again, like if you're laughing, you're gonna, or if you're making me laugh, you're probably gonna take me on a date.
When you're around somebody you're interested in, do you get quiet, nervous? Like,
Mm-mm.
what are the signs that I think somebody would know that you were interested?
Great question. I would say that I'm pretty chatty.
Yeah.
Like I'm already a yapper. We know. Hello, we have a mic in front of me. But like I think I get a little more yappier, so to speak.
Yappier.
And I think I riff more. Like I weirdly, I think I have a little more confidence when I'm flirting with someone.
That's true. Because
I
I've
think
even
you've
in
seen
the
me.
messaging, like
Yes.
there's like a lot of
Oh,
repartee. Yeah.
You're so right. You're so right.
Yeah.
All my text messages. Oh,
Yeah.
it's game over if we get
it's
to the.
so good.
If we get to phone, because then I have a couple minutes to be like,
like,
what's the most
yeah.
funny, cheeky thing I can say? And I love like underlying humor. And again, bits. I love making a
that.
bit. Like
Yeah.
as soon as a man makes a bit with me, I'm like, oh, we're cooking with gas. Like this is, if you can follow along on a
Yeah.
joke, I love it. And Yeah, so I feel like that, like I can envision myself when I'm really trying to flirt with someone, like it's actively, and I'm not like, oh, these are just accidentally coming out as flirty words. It's me trying to say something clever to be like, like just a little like wink, wink, nod, nod, like cute little thing like that. That's how I know when I'm laughing and I'm doing that.
I think basically what this means also is if you're around somebody that you're interested in and you want to know if they're interested in you too, just look at how they're interacting with other people.
That's so true.
And then if you see a difference with you, for the better, not for the worse.
A little more touchy, a little more laughy, a little more. Yeah.
Then I think that at least gives you the confidence to say like, hey, like you should approach them and just see.
Yeah. And I think there's so many, like I've seen women specifically now, like doing more creative outlets. They'll like make business cards or something like that to like give to the hot guys at the bar, because like sometimes the guys are not hitting on. Like I've had multiple times where I've been at a bar and like I was having intercourse via eye contact with someone for like an hour and then they never come up, and I'm like, dude, come on, don't make me. I will also, on the other end, I remember Halloween of last year when we were out at a bar. You didn't end up coming to that one, right? Yeah. I wanted you to be there, but it's sad. It's okay. That was but I was there, and I made eye contact with a guy that was so goddamn fine that I was like, there's no niceties. I literally grabbed him. I grabbed his arm and I was like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Maddie. Like right away.
No, I know. Like, I remember the story because I heard the story the next day. I'm like, what?
It was so aggressive.
It was so outside of character.
And I was clicked in. His loss. But totally. I was like, we're ready. We're ready.
We're coming to your work.
You might work in the Burbank area, and we know it. No, we would never stalk someone.
No,
but
kidding.
I will say that I just think of those kind of instances. But I just recently saw something that was matches, like matchbooks. And I want to do this, so I'm sad that I'm saying this publicly, but I'm like, I saw it on TikTok. Anyone could see it. And you put like your number and you say like, I think we'd be a good match, or like
that
text me
so
here.
Cute.
And you can just give it to someone, and it's super casual and sweet. And
I like that.
I think it's fun.
That might be good for guys too. Like if you are shy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, I think anyone can use that.
Yeah. Here's the only thing I would think. If you had something printed up with your number, I'd be like, how many people have this?
Well, that would be really cute is if you had just plain books, right?
And then you
wrote it in front of her. That's the loophole, my guy.
That's the play.
Yes, because I agree with you. If it was just like a quick little thing.
Yeah.
And if you were like, I'm not going to talk to her, but I want to say, I would like look at her and be like, and like write it and then give it to her.
That's cute.
Super cute. Yeah. I would totally be like, I have to text him now.
Him.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Wow. We're really just like solving world hunger here.
It's all out there. I guess to wrap us up, basically just go out there, be yourself, have fun with it, be creative, but overall just be yourself, because the right person at the right place in the right time, you're going to run into them and your life is going to change.
Yeah, rest is history. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. History is still writing itself, folks, for me.
He's coming.
No, but I think like all of these things that we talked about, I would be really well receptive to.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I know that we just wrapped it up, but I do want to talk about
add on.
I think that some people get so nervous, and our mutual friend Andy had said, I'm like considering Andy your friend because he is. He is. But our friend Andy, like when we did the top 10 qualities of a 10, he like reached out to me and was like, so the guys are sliding into the DMs all the time, right? And I was like, no, not for that. Like they'll slide in if I post a picture of myself or something like that. But I was like, not over like a very clear and concise like opportunity like we spoke about earlier in the episode. It's like, seize the opportunities in front of you. Use the context clues. Truly do your research, and like not in a creepy way, but in a like it's out there. Like if they have a public Instagram, there's so much to resource.
Well, and I'll also say, I believe the people that I know that are the most attractive, that are the most driven, that have their lives together the most, are the least approached. So really go out there and shoot your shot with like amazing people, because you don't know who's not approaching them. Be the person that does.
Yeah. Adam even said that on his episode. Like women, it was like 3 in 100 get approached or something like that. So really do it, because I think
in your favor.
The odds are in your favor if you do it. And if you get rejected, you gotta just let it roll off because
Yeah.
that person's not for you, and don't take it as a personal
judgment
or just be like, oh, they're not interested or they have shitty taste. Like
obviously.
say what you got to do to yourself and just be like, all right, next one.
Yeah.
And let it roll because that it's going to be easier and you're going to become less rejection averse too if you continue to just practice. So do things, be social, have fun, make friends so your friends can introduce you to people.
Absolutely.
Have all the fun times.
And send us more questions. Send us more topics. We love this so much. And thank you so much for the person that suggested this. If you want anything else talked about, please let us know. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. And join us next week on Femtal.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.